Do you have any, or just basically you can tell a story, or like say like, oh, Ardell, remember when Jillian did this, and you just kind of tell the story or whatever, and then you guys can kind of just go back and forth with it if you want. I mean, I'm just kind of spitballing.
The story that I remember is we went down one of the first times we went down to Red, White, and Boom, and I got up to go to the bathroom, and there was 500,000 people down there, and I went to the bathroom and came back, and Ardell says, "Where's Jillian at?" And I said, "What do you mean, where's Jillian at?" And Ardell said, "She went with you." And I go, "She didn't go with me." And Ardell said, "Yes, she did." And so I hightailed it back up the hill, and there amongst a bunch of people stood Jillian just holding on to the railing, waiting for somebody to come back and get her. But it was just that panic-stricken moment that you had lost your daughter amongst 500,000 people. So fortunately I was able to find her and stay in good graces with my wife.
Do you have any, Mom?
Well, I have lots of stories, but I'm always told that my stories are insane, so I'm not really sure.
Tell any of them.
Share. It's not going to make me look like this great parent. So I would say that
Did you ever lose your kid?
No.
I don't mean so much like that. Like, what were some times when like we have a million like funny Jillian stories, like when she like locked herself and like tell her like when she locked herself in her room or whatever, and like when she was like that kind of stuff. Doesn't necessarily have to be about you parenting, just Jillian being like ornery or something, or like when she was at Niagara Falls and wouldn't stop screaming. Or I've heard all these stories.
Well, one story is Jillian was not happy to have another member of the family join us, and that was her brother. And she said, "Put that baby down." And because I couldn't turn the pages of a book, and so she just always wanted me to put Mitch down. And then she proceeded to do that when she got a little older, and all Mitch wanted to do was sing, just like his sister, and then she would just push him away. But then she started to like him, because when she saw other people pushing him, and I think it might have been Sarah Forgy, it was one of the girls, and they were at Sells Middle School, and a guy had been mean to Mitch, and so they worked it out that Sarah pushed Mitch into Kevin, because Kevin wasn't going to be mean to her little brother, even though her little brother was bigger than her now. And I think that Jillian, like, she didn't like to not touch you. Her whole thing was she had to touch butts when she would lay with you. And so, you would sleep with her, and you would say, "Well, Jillian, you're old enough to sleep by yourself." And she was always afraid. And we went to Camp Wilson in 4th grade, and she wouldn't sleep in her own bunk. And so she made me hold hands with her across a bunk, and I said, "Okay, I'm going to let go now. I'm right here." And next thing I know, she's in bed with me in the sleeping bag. And I'm like, "Jillian, we're not allowed." She goes, "I don't care. I can't do it. I'm just a little girl." And she didn't care that everybody in the camp, was like, "Jillian's sleeping with her mom." And she was like, "I don't care." And she has never liked sleeping alone. So I'm glad Joe's there, because if he wasn't, she would probably still be sleeping with her brothers or one of us or someone. And when she sleeps with you, she needs to touch butts. So
what about the Camp Wilson where you weren't there, and she wanted to come home and we wouldn't let her come home?
Oh gosh.
And she started writing letters to our aunts and uncles about...
Yeah, she wanted to go to Camp Wilson, even though when I was there, she couldn't do it alone. She said no, she could do Camp Wilson on her own. She was going to go with 2 other girls, but they got in different cabins. And so Jillian doesn't like to get dirty. Like, So when she went there and they said you could go swimming, well, Jillian wanted to see the bottom of the pool. Well, it wasn't a pool, it was a lake. And a lake is dirty. And Jillian's like, I'm not getting in there. And so she started faxing and sending people letters and saying, please tell my parents to come get me. I'm really serious. I don't like it here. There were spiders, no air conditioning, and no pool. So she really felt she got shortchanged on that camping. That really wasn't what Jillian wanted to do. And she, like, we put her in soccer, and we knew she wasn't going to play soccer because if it was muddy, she wasn't going to run through that mud. She ran on the outsides of it, and it didn't matter if the ball came towards her. If it was muddy, she wasn't going to kick it, and she really just did it because everybody else signed up for it, and she didn't want to get dirty.
But didn't she write letters to Chase saying that someone needed to come and pick her up now because no one was going to leave her at that camp? Back
at the camp, yeah. She really, really was begging people. You would have thought we took her to prison. Another thing is, Jillian's a very good liar. She decided to cut Nick's hair. And I saw this perfectly cut chunk of hair in my trash can. And I said, who cut hair? And Nick couldn't speak well, and he would call her, instead of calling her Sissy, he called her Zizi. And he would say, it's okay, Zizi. And I go, well, what's okay? And she was good because she lifted his bangs up and cut the part off underneath his bangs. And she said, I don't know where the hair came from. I didn't do it. And Nick just kept saying, it's okay. It's okay, Zizi. And I couldn't figure it out. And really, Jillian stayed true to what she was going to. She did not do it. And I said, there's no way that a 2-year-old could cut his hair and lay it nicely in the trash can. And I'm not sure Jillian ever admitted it, but Nick kind of told on her and just said it was okay. It was fine with him. And she just really can make you believe that she really didn't do something.
So you always have the all-time movie greats and things, and so every family has their all-time movie great video, and obviously you know what I'm going to say is that the all-time great Salisbury steak video. It's something that everybody has to watch if they haven't already seen it, but it's a classic tale of Jillian trying to get her dad's attention, but he was paying more attention to Mitch, who was attempting to open up a package of Pop-Tarts, which was actually his dinner that night because I was cooking dinner.
I actually think you were paying attention to the Indians game that was on.
It wasn't a game. It was a commercial for the opening day.
There you go, something with the Indians.
But anyway, I'm filming everybody but Jillian, and all Jillian is, all you can see is she's like down at the edge of the, trying to get in front of the camera. Daddy, look at me. And I'm not looking at her. She said, Daddy, what are we gonna have to eat? How about, let's have Salisbury steak. Yeah, Daddy, let's have some Salisbury steak.
Well, actually, you told her she was going to have Salisbury steak, and she goes, no, how about I have a Pop-Tart? How about that, Daddy? Daddy, are you paying attention to me, Daddy? She wanted Pop-Tarts like Mitch did.
And she wanted to watch Jem.
And she wanted, yeah, and Jem. Jem was a big show she watched, and she made Mitch and anyone else that came over, they had to be Jem, and part of her, you know.
But Jillian had her pajamas on. She had the little mullet haircut back in the late 80s, I guess, and stuff. But so that's when we all talk about looking at videos, we always got to watch the Salisbury steak video.
Do you guys have a most proud moment of her? I mean, other than getting married, but earlier in life when you thought, oh wow, I'm really proud of her, she did a really big event or small?
Well, I guess my proudest moment is when Jillian told me that she wanted to get a tattoo. And I told her, no way was she getting a tattoo. And she said, well, when she turned 18, she didn't need my permission and that she could get a tattoo. And I told her if she got that tattoo that I would go and get one with her, and mine would say "Cool Mama." And she said no, that I was afraid of needles. And I said, well, I will do anything with you and we can do it together. And she said, well, and I said, and if that doesn't work, if I haven't raised you good enough and you want to break your mother's heart. And she goes, I hate when you try to do this to me. And she never got a tattoo. So I was very proud that she came to her senses and didn't get a tattoo.
Now Ardell's got Cool Mama on her back and stuff. So, I've always been proud of Jillian for everything that she's accomplished. But probably the most proud is that when she graduated from college. I think when she first went there, her first year was okay. I mean, it wasn't bad, but from her sophomore year on, and that's really when she started. She had met Joe and stuff, and so he probably had a positive influence on her. But just the care that she took about always looking out for our expenses and really appreciating what we have done for her from a college standpoint just made me feel very gratified that she appreciated what we had done, and that really all climaxed when she, walked across the horseshoe and got her diploma that day. It sort of all came to full circle that Jillian had really transformed herself from being a happy-go-lucky person to, someone who was serious about their career, and I was just very proud of how she handled herself through that whole situation.
I don't know if everybody knows, but most of the bridesmaids know
Keep going.
that Jillian totaled her car, and the girls were in the car with her. But after you total your car, then you don't have a car. And Jillian didn't really like her hand-me-down car. And so she was always asking, why can't I drive people to the airport? Why can't I do this? Why am I the oldest? Why do I not get to do everything that my friends do? And so when she totaled the car, we said, well, you need to pay a deductible. And as easygoing as most of you think Jillian is, there was something special about her bedroom. I really always thought it was a miracle room, because she would go up there and she would have her little tantrums and she would come out a different person. And I heard her banging on the floor and she would go, why, dear God, why now would my mom make me be responsible, and now I have to pay the deductible? And I think she started to appreciate that 91 Honda Accord, because she went without it and didn't have a vehicle, and when she got it back, she loved that. And one of the things that she and Joe, why Jillian fell in love, with a lot of things about Joe, is she said, Mom, Joe drives an old Accord just like me. He drives a piece of crap just like me. And that was great, because he didn't have this flashy car and Jillian didn't have this, and it just felt like, really good to her that somebody else felt her pain, that she had a piece of crap, didn't have air conditioning, didn't have a good radio, but it was hers. And I think Joe felt the same. At least he had a ride. So Jillian has learned a lot and has always appreciated things. Maybe not in the beginning, but she always comes out of that magical room and has appreciation and has a different understanding. So I think that's that would tell me that, Jillian, you're going to make it.
You guys, everything else, it's getting kind of dark on the lens here.
I just I talked about how Jillian can hang with guys and stuff like that, and I think she's got a great balance between being a lady, but also can shift over to the other side and be one of the guys if she has to. And I think that is something that can be made for a great relationship, just as long as Joe does not take advantage of that skill that she has. But an example that I just stood in bewilderment was the night that I was up at Rusty Bucket, and Dino and Jed were up there, and I think Joe was there too. But Jillian had been drinking, and she started to talk about different, terms and things, and she came up with the term blumpkin, and she proceeded to tell Jed and Dean what a blumpkin was. And unfortunately, I don't think I can explain what a blumpkin is on this video, so you'll have to ask Jillian. But just the sheer amazement on those guys' faces, you don't find them short on words, but they both stood there with just their mouth open thinking, what the hell just came out of her mouth and stuff. And that's one of the things where I say, yep. So that's, to me,
It's my little girl.
yeah, to me, she can get down in the, a lot of women would think that that's crude, but that's just Jillian, that she can get along with anybody. And I think it's a rare skill, and it's a skill that will make her successful in her relationships from here on out through the rest of her life.
Nice. All right, I'll stop it. You guys are fading.